Okay, welcome back to the channel. Got a couple small things to do today. Work on the starter solenoid. I do have the inner primary off again because I was working on putting the starter housing in, and I got to tightening, one of these nuts that are on here, and you can see that I don't know how well it's going to show up, but the bottom of this is kind of stripped out. So I was worried that because this is just a pass through, like this just passes through to the inner primary. I was worried that I couldn't really see, and I was worried that the inner primary was stripped, but it turns out it's not the inner primary. It was actually this stud. There's actually threads missing on the bottom of this. So in going through my parts that I had for the starter, I couldn't figure out where these two bolts came from. They were with the starter, they were with the housing, everything. And evidently, the person that had the bike before me maybe ran into the same problem because, let me show you anyway. So you can see the housing here. So this is the one that I got off eBay because I cracked mine. So it's got some fixing here for some damage. It doesn't affect the starter at all, but here's the stud, how it goes in. And these screws here actually screw in here. So, and I couldn't remember because it's been months since I took this starter apart. So I'm lucky that this did not strip out. It was not the inner primary that stripped out. It was just actually that stud that stripped out. So I'm not going to make a video on putting this back in. You already saw me do it. I did mount the coil. I got one wire down here. I'm going to figure out where the other one is coming from. And then if we come over here, I got the oil lines in, and I mounted the carburetor. The carburetor is probably coming off again. I've got to contact S&S because from what I understand, S&S makes this adapter for this carburetor where I can use the stock air cleaner. And I want to use the stock air cleaner on this rather than that teardrop that it came with. It's a nice air cleaner, the teardrop, but I'd rather have the stock air cleaner on here. So we got that. What else did I do? Yeah, this bumper over here. This bumper here that holds the oil tank in, when I took it off, it was split. It was broken in half, like this piece came off. So I couldn't figure out how that happened. I mean, these things only last a few years anyway. So I bought a new one. It wouldn't thread in here. And I'm like, well, why is that not threading in? So I actually had to re-tap this. This is a 1/4 by 20 tap. And now it fits in fine. So evidently whoever had it before didn't try to tap it in and tried tightening it up and just broke it off and just kind of left it there manually. So we got those fixed. What else have I done? I don't think I've done anything really, a whole lot. I got this solenoid worked, but I've got a new one coming. It looks a little bit better. And in cleaning the starter, let me show you over here. This is the starter housing for the brushes. So I was taking the starter apart because the starter works fine. I was cleaning the armature, which is over there, and cleaning the brushes out. The brushes seem to be fine. There's no issues with them. And trying to put this back in, this fiberboard starter brush housing broke in half. So I had to order another one of those. So that should be in here hopefully in another couple days. And we'll get the starter mounted in. I can clean the oil tank. I already got some kerosene to flush the oil tank out. We'll get the oil tank mounted and hook up the oil lines. And not going to be too much longer before we can start this. I'm not going to wait to get everything done, brakes or anything like that to start. I want to get the motor started, make sure the motor is running okay before I finish everything up in case I got major problems that I got to deal with there. So, all right, so let's get moving. I'm going to install the inner primary. Like I said, I'm not going to get that on camera. And as soon as I get the inner primary in, we'll do the video on the rest of the stuff. All right, so the starter solenoid came in today, so we're going to be mounting that. We're going to do the starter housing first. I already put the jack shaft in. That's all set. I did some other small stuff, like I mounted the voltage regulator, mounted this bracket over here, the shifter bracket. I got to get the outer primary on before I can kind of finish that. I don't think I did anything on the other side on this video. Still got the starter apart. I'm waiting for that. So I drained the transmission. I put not transmission fluid, but I just put oil in here to test it. I just drained that out. So I have a bunch of towels on there. I have the chain kind of soaking in oil. I'm going to pull that out pretty soon. I started working on shining up the exhaust. I haven't decided if I'm going to use these pipes or not. I'm still undecided if I'm going to use them, but so I'm kind of working on some of this, setting this up to see what I've got to do. I'd like to really just get a whole new exhaust system, but I do like this, you know, the stock crossover one. I need all new shields. These shields are shit, but I need all new. That one goes there, and then this one here goes over here on that side, and then there's actually two missing. This one's missing, and there's another one that goes down here that's missing. So I can get the whole set for like $130, so I'll do that. So we did get some other new parts in. Got some new springs. Got a new aluminum releasing disc. Got a new ramjet. So as soon as I get the starter and everything in, we're going to work on the clutch. We'll get that done. And yeah, we can. Here's this. Another thing that came in. I ordered new battery cables, positive and negative, and this thing is so thin. I can't. And it's also short. It's 15.5 inches. This is the positive. And I don't know that I'm going to use that. I'm definitely not going to use the so this is the one that was on the bike, the negative cable, and it's pretty thick. I mean, if you look at this one, it supposedly fits this bike. This is 8.5 inch. Look how thin that is compared to this. This is like twice the size. So I'm going to use that. This was the positive cable, I believe. Yeah, it looks like it's a positive side. So I'm probably going to look around for another thicker cable like that. So anyway, let me set this up. We'll get the starter housing done, and we'll move on from there. Okay, so we got to put some grease on the end of that jack shaft. Now this, for some reason, this model year, I already put it on inside the starter housing. So we're just going to put some on here because it's kind of a pain to get this in sometimes. So this is the old oil deflector that came off the bike, and this has a gasket on it, but this year does not require a gasket. I think it was 1980 and up you had the gasket. Maybe they had a technical service bulletin later on that use this gasket, but I'm not going to use it. But I am going to use some gasket sealer, and I'm just going to use a thin layer. You're really not going to get a whole lot of oil splashing up there, but so we're going to put some on the housing here. Like I said, I'm not going to put a whole lot. I'm just going to put so I had some people working on the house today, so I didn't really get a whole lot done except some cleaning of some parts is really all I got done today. Okay, so we'll just get a little bit on here. We'll mount this on it, and you got to feed the end of that jack shaft through this gear, because this gear is what the starter turns. So then we put this, this side out. Now here's the tricky part sometimes. You gotta hold this jack shaft, I mean, not jack staff. And what, it's gonna be easier if I could move this out of the way, I think. Well, maybe not. There we go. All right. Sometimes it goes in easy, other times it doesn't. And there's actually two little notches there to... Oh, is that in? Oops. Looks like that's in. Let me throw these bolts in. went in easier than I thought. Yeah, I don't want to drop that bolt on the chain there. All right, let me get a socket. Okay, we'll get this. Last thing I want to do is strip these into the inner primary, and you get all kinds of problems. Don't like that. I don't believe there's any torque specs for this. Oops. And one thing you don't want to do is crack this housing. So let's take a look, see if we can look inside and see if it should be engaged. I mean, it looks like it's engaged, but so if you look, let me see if I can get the camera in there. So if you look, you can see that probably in the way. All right, so if you look in there, I'm turning the jack shaft now, so it's engaged. So that's cool. So we got that out of the way. Yeah, I did half-heartedly put the bumper on. I have to finish putting the back on. It's really out of adjustment, but we got that done. All right, so let's get the solenoid mounted. Okay, so here is the new solenoid. Here's the old one. I mean, it worked fine. It just looks terrible. There was nothing wrong with it as far as working, but I wanted something that looked a little bit better. So we've got to, I got to clean the bottom of this off because this has a gasket that goes around here. So let me take a little bit of alcohol and we'll just go around here. Now you can either put it on here on the inner primary itself, or you can put it on here. It doesn't really matter which. One side, you know, has like sticky tape on it, double-sided tape. Doesn't really matter where it goes. And then you got this boot here that sits in there. I mean, this is not that strong of tape, but center it on there and push it in. Then we've got this block. Let me go clean this block off first. Yeah, I won't bother for now because I'm actually going to take the block off and the screws off and throw them in some rust remover. So we'll put that in. That block goes right. Oops. Damn it. Okay, I found it. It was wasn't where the chain was, which was good news on that. So let's see if we can try this again without me screwing it up. I'm going to put this here because I don't want to lose this again. So we'll stick that there just so I get this top screw in anyway. Okay, so we got the solenoid in now. I think we're going to do maybe the clutch on the next video. We'll get that done, get the outer primary buttoned up. I got to order some new plugs, some new wires. I still got to get some the right washers for this. I think there's a washer that goes underneath each one of these for the mounts, and I know I got to get another washer in here because it's too much of a space in there. So I do have some more parts coming. What did I order today? I ordered a new kickstand. That's coming in. a new front, new rear brake line that goes from the master cylinder to the split. And I can't think of something else I ordered. I have to think. I ordered 3 things. I don't remember what the third thing was. So anyway, that is going to do it for this video. Little by little, we're getting there. Maybe another couple weeks we'll be able to get this thing going and see how it's going to run. Still got to do all the cosmetic stuff on here, put the bag mounts on. I don't think I have to do anything up front, but I'm not going to put the tank on to start. I'm going to use my temporary tank over there, just in case I got to take the tank off again. As long as the electrical works, everything on the electrical works, I'll be happy to start off. Hopefully that's all going to work. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.